want to welcome y'all to the 7 o'clock p.m. version of Speaker Co-working. This is Ron Story. I'm here with Angela Lewis, the head of operations at SpeakerHub, joined today also by Bart and AJ. We are here to answer any questions that anyone may have regarding speaking. We do this every day from 12 o'clock until, we do 12, we do 3, and we do 7. We may be switching a couple of these dates, but 12 will always be there. We're trying to decide if we want to keep the 3 or the 7. But depending on the attendance, we may get rid of one of them. Well, we will get rid of one of them. We just don't know which one. So, this is where we answer the questions about different things. So I want to get you guys' feedback about the 12 o'clock session from today. I'm getting a lot of different comments, and I think that I'll tell you what the feedback I've been getting from other people that I've met with outside of here. Some people are like, man, what you're talking about is way too far ahead of where we are, right? And then other people are saying, man, what you're talking about is way too slow from where we are, depending on which day it is, right? And I think that that's the dynamic that you run into when you have everybody is welcome session. And when we split out into the different groups, depending on the level of speaker that they're at, I think people will be a bit more comfortable depending on where they are. One of the things that I do know is that most companies do daily calls once a month or maybe once a week. So what I found in those systems that do one call a week, I just couldn't imagine going to school 1 day a week for an hour. I couldn't imagine learning Spanish, just spending 1 hour a week in Rosetta Stone. It was immersion. I need to be in it. I need to treat it like a real business because business isn't a 1 hour a week thing. So we do these every day to let them know the urgency and the consistency that's necessary in order to get the results that they're expecting. For many entrepreneurs, this is your first business. So we understand that you may not understand the amount of work that goes into it at the beginning to get that rocket off the ground. So that's why we do an everyday call. And we want to make sure that on a daily basis, if they want, they can stay as long as they want. But on a daily basis, we want to make sure that they at least are able to walk away with something new that they can implement. Everything that we teach isn't for everybody at that moment. It's for the people who needed to hear that thing at the moment. So in the same way that you go to a buffet at a restaurant, just because it's all available don't mean you got to eat it all, right? You can pick and choose the ribs today and the catfish tomorrow and the roast beef the next day. So you can do those things the way you would like to have them done. One moment, the office is here. Okay, you get it, saludos, AJ, Angie. Wait.
Baby boss.
You don't want to say hi?
Okay.
Yeah, she's a bit.
I don't know if y'all putting some money in that purse.
Come on.
See, I got too much money. It's too heavy.
Yeah, she's tired. So she just got back from soccer practice with her brother. So
muchas cosas acá.
Yep, that's what you said, Bart. She said I got a bag full of stuff.
Mira,
Yeah, no. You want to show them?
Kids
Show.
play.
No, she got dinosaurs, lipstick, rocks,
Oh no.
cell phone.
cosas.
Muchas cosas.
Cosas.
Dinosaurs.
Ooh.
Can't leave the house without your cell phone.
There you go.
Muy importante.
And a bunch of rocks. I ain't taking the rocks out of there.
There'll be full bottles rocks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, she got a different pocket. Let's see what's in here. 1 second. Let me help you. Oh, you got this wire in here, baby. What the heck is that? Lip gloss.
Labial.
Oh,
Play-Doh.
wow.
That's way more than I thought was in there.
Yeah, no
I mean,
wonder it's
it
heavy.
ain't these are the things I'm willing to take out.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's still rocks in this bag.
What do you know about me?
They don't.
Mine's Play-Doh. Yep.
Oh,
And Hershey Kisses.
increíble.
Papi, me das un kit.
Hmm?
Me das un kit.
Come on.
Me das un kit.
Kids, you see, cheeks. No sé. Estoy en una cita, ¿ok? Gracias. Okay,
Quiero un kit.
okay. ¿Tú quieres chicle?
No, quiero un kit.
¿Quieres una kit? Dime.
Un beso.
Oh, kiss. Besos. Okay.
No,
Oh,
o sea, de,
English.
Ah, Hershey's Kiss. Oh, tú comes todos. Yo compro otros, ¿ok? ¿Tú
Okay.
quieres chicles? Okay. Hasta luego. Yeah.
Señor.
All right. She's like, can I get Hershey's Kiss? I'm like, you want a kiss? She's like, no, I want the kid. I'm like, no, she's crying. So, but yeah, but yeah, it's not designed for everybody to have everything every day. It's just take the stuff you need. And I think that you as you go through it and you spend more time owning the business and realizing that you're not going to go from I just started tomorrow to Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, I just started yesterday to Mark Zuckerberg tomorrow. When we listen to the different people who've come on the podcast or who've come on the show that have had sustained success, right? They started and they got better. You know, I showed pictures earlier of my original podcast setup. The lighting was terrible. I was using all this other stuff, but that's where I had to start, right? And we want to skip sometimes, but you really can't. You just got to put in the work. I mean, you know, my daughter, I don't hold her to the same standard that I hold at 3. I don't hold her to the same standard I hold my 8-year-old to, right? And I don't hold them to the same standard that I hold my my 19-year-old niece to. I don't hold her to the same standard I hold my 31-year-old niece to. Like we grow, we have different expectations. So you know, so if you're watching this and you're not sure where you are, you're feeling as if, you know, you're behind everyone else. That doesn't determine your current situation, doesn't determine your future destination, right? So you may be behind them now, but what if they quit, right? And there's no Mario Brothers mushroom you could take to make you grow up as a speaker faster. You just got to keep getting on stages. So I want to go over something while we're on here that I think is very interesting. And we did this survey where we've asked people to give us their what we call the speaker status. And I wanted to learn what could we learn about speakers that depending on what age, what income they were at as a speaker, what did they do differently than everyone else? And this graph that ChatGPT came up with was very interesting, right? So we set the breaking line at $50,000. And the reason being is when we come over here into the data and we look at what speakers make, 67% are under 25,000. About 80%, which is 67 plus 12, are under 50,000. So I wanted to show the difference because $50,000 is probably enough money to go full time at something. If you're going to leave a job, the average income in the States is $42,000. So if you can make $50,000 as a speaker, you could actually go full time doing it if that's enough money for you to live off of. So I use that as the breaking point. What is the 80% of the people doing and what are the 20% of the people doing? So here's what we found when we put that data together. So the people who were doing over 50 grand, they had 10 years of experience. Right? The majority of the people who were doing under 50 grand, they were new speakers. That's the majority. But there's a lot of people in between there. But the majority of them were new speakers, right? The speaking fee, those who were in it for 10 years, they were charging $10,000, right? Not a lot of people were charging 25, 30. Those are outstanding elite speakers. But if you made it over 50, you was probably getting 10 to 20 grand per gig, but you had been in it for 10 years. If you were under 50, you were probably still charging under $1,000 on average. Annual speaking engagements. Look at how many more times they're speaking. They're on the stage 20 to 50 times. The people under 50 grand were on the stage no more than 5 times a year. It was still a part-time deal. But I thought it was interesting that the biggest challenge that both groups faced was, I want more gigs. Well, everybody wants more gigs, right? Like Facebook wants more people on Facebook, even though they got 3 billion. Visa and MasterCard want more people with credit cards, even though everybody already got 10 credit cards in their pocket. They want you to have 20, right? So the challenge of growing will always be there. And I think if we could accept that we always want to improve, it's just part of being who we are. We want to get better and get more. Well, but look at something here. The primary lead source for both groups was referrals and word of mouth. But when you're unknown, it's hard to make those referrals and word of mouth really pay off. The number of referrals that the person who's been in the business for 10 years gets is way higher than the number of referrals for the person who's just starting. But what's the marketing strategy? Well, a lot of them are on YouTube, they're on LinkedIn, they're active on social media. Most of the speakers who were under $50,000 weren't doing any marketing, even though they had a social media account, LinkedIn. You know, they were only speakers in title. Is that fair? Right? Look at the difference in the audience sizes, right? But that's normal. You got to start somewhere. You got to, they're going to pick the more experienced speakers sometimes for the bigger audiences, right? And I wasn't surprised that they were doing virtual and in person. It's a modern world. A lot of the guys who were starting 10 years ago, podcasting wasn't a thing when they started speaking. So they didn't even focus on that. They're now starting to go over into podcasting as it's become more important. But the younger speakers are doing podcasting right off the bat because they see it as an open stage, right? Well, usually, eventually, once you get over 50 grand, you're going to look for a support team, right? Those under 50 grand were solopreneurs. But look at the difference in what they're spending in marketing, right? Under 50 grand, they're not dedicating anything to marketing or tools, where they're spending almost a full-time salary for someone on a monthly basis on getting their name out so that they can keep staying ahead of everyone else. How many sales calls are they doing per month? The new speakers aren't doing many. That's why they're not getting booked much. But the ones who've been doing it for a while, they're doing 6 to 10 sales calls a month, right? So I'm not surprised that the revenue is 5 times more because the activity is 5 times more, right? The full-time person at 50 grand, they can treat it as a full-time job because they make enough money to live off of it as a full-time job, where the person who's just starting out, if they're doing under 50 grand, it's probably still part-time. So you have to think about it in a different way. And here's the one thing. If there was one thing you could pay to make go away, all of the people under 50 grand said I would pay to get more leads. It was ironic that the people over 50, they didn't say that because they were already spending to get more leads. So that wasn't their concern. They needed to say, okay, what else do I need to spend on? So they were saying, I need to spend to get another teammate and get more gigs, even though how do I scale my team and grow it as a business? They were no longer looking for, how do I get a gig? They were saying, how do I get more gigs and get more opportunities? What are you all's thoughts about this? Is this surprising at all?
No.
I mean, if I didn't see it and I knew all the categories, I would say it would align that same way. Under 50,000, depending on where you start, one, are you full-time? Because if you're full-time, then you put more into it and you have probably end up with more opportunities, but everyone has to start someplace. I think it's very important to, as you reiterate all the time about the work, everyone didn't start there, so when Fly Girl's on there and saying, I've been doing this for 18 years and getting this number, and then and she says what she started with in charging. I think it's Alicia that comes on there when they talk about, when you said that she started out with, she said her best pay at one point in time was a meal, a certain
Yeah,
type of meal.
yeah, Lethea. Yeah, she said
Yeah,
she got
thank you.
2 pieces of chicken and green beans.
Yeah, that was the height of it because it was just meals. Speaking for that, so I think it's important for people to understand that. I thought it was very, very poignant today to say, you have to make a decision about leaving your job and doing this full time or not. But there's a time to do it, and you need to be prepared before you come out here, and it makes a big difference. Then it's just a matter of a system and doing the work.
Yep.
I mean, that resonated with me. And that's why I'm always in listening mode because I take the tidbit that applies. But I spoke for a long time, in my job just because of the level. So that wasn't the obstacle. And then putting it into a framework wasn't the obstacle. It was what I'm on here for, so that's why I'm focused pitching and, because it works and it worked right away. So I think it's just the work, and then people have to be very savvy inside SpeakerHub. Don't just go down. If that path isn't getting you results, if you're not getting responses and all those types of things, then put something else in there. Say something just a wee bit different. You have to make it longer, but just work it and pitch to a different group, depending on what your audience is. So, and not to carry on, I'll stop here after this, but I went to crime, start pitching the crime things because I would get on some podcasts and they just wanted to focus on the story that got me to what I'm speaking about. I said, okay, so we'll talk about this story right here if that's what you want to do, because each time is just exposure. That's the way I look at it, right? So I started pitching the crime podcast and telling the story. Well, one that I pitched to tell the story, because that's what I thought the thing read, they responded and didn't say anything about the story. They said, this is what we do. Our podcast is set up to talk about other crimes. And they gave me like 5 examples of crimes that they talk about. And they said, would you be interested in coming on and being a panelist with, we have a pool of panelists or whatever. We'd like you to do that. Never said anything about my story, right? So as we talked about before and AJ did the flip into that speaking opportunity of the lady who came on with the academic institution, use that be able to flip. Okay. Am I a crime spurt? No, but I'm on there tonight and we're talking about the young lady who is missing in Punta Cana. They reached out yesterday. We connected yesterday and I'm already going to be on that at 8 o'clock. So I have to jump off here at some point and I'm on there with 2 retired FBI agents. So as we talked about before, just like out of nowhere, but am I a crime spurt? Thank you. I'm not a crime spurt, but I can talk about the security aspects, of this particular thing. So, but it's just doing the work.
Exactly. I think here's the one thing. A thought leader is a leader of thought, not just a subject matter expert. They trust your ability to break down and analyze things, right? So I look at it like basketball, and I always use sports because that's what I know, right? I'm not going to talk about makeup. I don't know nothing about that, right? But in basketball, if AJ and I went to the park, we see somebody with an orange ball throwing it up at a basket that's on the side of a pole. Someone asks us, what are they doing? They shooting basketball, right? We go over and we ask them, we say, hey man, what they doing? Oh, they playing half court. Cool. It's still basketball, but it's a bit more specific what type of basketball they're playing. We ask the guys what they playing. They say we playing 32. It's a half court game. It's 32. We know it's 2-on-2. It could be 10 people playing with five teams of 2 people playing together at playing 32. Or they could be playing bucket or 21, 1-on-1, 10 people playing, every man for themselves. make a shot, go to the free throw line, right? So the further you get away, the more generic it is. The closer you get to the action, the more specific and adjustable you have to be. I've never met a basketball player who could hoop that would say, I don't play 21. I don't play 32. I don't play half court. I don't play 3-on-3. I only run full court with referees. Like, man, get up out of here. You ain't playing today then. Right? You ain't playing. And we ain't got no clocks. And it's 2s and 1s. It ain't 3s and 2s. And you call your own fouls, right? So the closer you get to the game, the better you're prepared for the rules. And you can decide if you're going to be shirts or skins, if you're going to get on the floor or not. But you got to get in the game. A lot of us are way far away from the game, afraid we're going to get fouled, afraid we're going to get crossed over, afraid we're going to get dunked on. That's part of the game. It's part of the game. It's just part of it. I mean, Michael Jordan, everybody focuses. How many years Michael Jordan played in the NBA? If you are from Chicago, that answer is 6. He only played the 6 years he won the championship. They act like he didn't play for the Wizards. They act like he didn't play from 84 to 91 when he was getting whooped by the Pistons, and Dražen Petrovic used to give Michael Jordan the business when he played on the Nets until he got killed. Right? Exactly. Right? It never happened. They only think he played for 6 years. Right? But we know he had to get better. The kid had to get better, and he did. Right? So that's really the part of maturing as a business owner, understanding what you're willing to go through, and just being prepared when the opportunity comes. So I love that Bart talks about he was prepared to speak at his job. A lot of you guys are prepared to speak because you've been doing it a while at your job. Now, the setting changes. So your message may be strong, your stage presence may be strong, but there's still some techniques that you can learn from the masters that can teach you about cadence and voice tonality and all of these different things. As you mature, you find, oh man, I remember such and such did this. His voice would go up at certain times and he would slow it down, right? And you're like, wait, when I say slow, I should talk slower. When I get excited, I should speed up, right? Because I want to be able to show people those different emotions, right? So that's what we learn. You learn a hezzy, you learn a crossover, you learn to take it behind your back. You learn all these different moves the more you spend time on the court, right? So I'll use a great example of this. Is chess. You can't play chess and be a sore loser because your first 400 games, you losing. Okay. Unless you playing with somebody who don't know how to play. But if you're going to get better at chess, you're going to lose a lot at the beginning. I mean, a lot. A lot. And chess is one of those merit games where you find out the people that are better than you, because the people that are really better than you, they never lose to you. I mean, it is clearly defined that they are better than me. I may win 1 out of 10 games because he is just better than me. And he know why I lost, why I won the one I luckily won. Right? So there's a clear skill differentiator, and it's just how life is, you know? So any other thoughts? Bart, I think your comments were spot on that, you know, it's just part of it, man. We got to get better. You got to be willing to go on different things that you're uncomfortable with, right? And figure it out. In 5 years, these podcasts won't matter, but your skills would have benefited from them, right? When we see Bart on CNN or MSNBC or something, we would be like, man, I remember when Bart used to come on our show. And they're going to be going back looking at the old SpeakerHub archives.
Yeah,
and, you know.
I would say that Bart would be back because, like I said, every day I learn. So I hear one thing. It's going to be an hour. It's going to be overtime. I'm not waiting for that one thing. The one thing is going to come. That's all. So I would come back to get that thing as often as I can. So yeah. And there's no group like this where you can get a nugget a day in your profession. Not this one.
Yeah, we appreciate the feedback that you all give, right? The speakers that come on that are doing it, and because you get, I'll give you a great example. AJ, we tell a story about how he wanted to learn cold email because I've been doing it for 15 years now, right? And he was like, "Man, can you show me what to do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just these things. You need to find a list or scrape a list, validate the emails, send them." He was like, "You make it sound so simple." I'm like, "Well, the rest of the nuance, they don't need to be telling you that because you're not going to believe it until you go through it." It's kind of like I can tell my daughter, "Hey, don't touch that, it's hot." No, it's not. Okay, cool. I already gave her the warning. She don't want to listen to it. Go ahead. Psst, my hair. Yeah, well, I told you it was hot. So now she understands what hot means, right? Certain things you just got to experience to learn. Why? Because sometimes we think, well, it ain't going to happen to me. And it happens to you, no matter how prepared you are, right? So when I think about those things that you just have to live and experience in order to get what your visceral reaction would be or what your in the mode reaction would be. And it's certain lessons you can only learn from being on the speaking stage. Certain things I only learned from doing this thing here and having to think through it. So the more exposure you get, I think the better off you are. And with you guys having your experience and being able to drop little gems, hey, I learned this. Here's how I do my follow-ups. Here's why I hired this person. Here's what my person's doing. Yo, we discovered this thing. That's what community is about. I never wanted to feel as if people are competing, right? And we're just getting started, guys. We're 8 months into this. Like, we're 8 months into it. We're just getting started. It's just starting. So imagine where it's going to be 8 months from now when we get the new community. SpeakerHub is converting our regular speaker page. It will be a community platform. It will also be a platform where you can sell your courses, your books, your trainings, anything up to $100. Go up to $100, $99. You can sell it on SpeakerHub. Anything over that, you need to take them off of SpeakerHub to sell. But anything up, put that on your own Stripe account. You ain't putting it on ours. Anything up to $100, you can sell on SpeakerHub, right? And I think that that's going to be a game changer just based on the amount of traffic that we get, but also the amount of speed you can implement with getting a course up. You don't have to go learn another platform. You don't have to go learn how do I get it Kindle, digital print, whatever, KDP ready. Just upload the PDF and let them download it, right? You want the videos? You got YouTube? Cool. We'll show you how to upload it to wherever you're going to upload it, make it private, put the video in, it works. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be teaching you those little things that that allow you to proudly present a product and speak to get paid, not get paid to speak. We need you to speak to promote, right? Speak to promote your products because your speaking is just one part of it. So that's where we're going. That's the future of this thing. I'm super duper excited about it. Anything else you all want to talk about before we call it a day? I mean, AJ has to run. Bart got a speaking gig. My kid is outside begging for chocolate like she homeless. So, any other things? It's an exciting time. This is an exciting time to be a part of this thing. Anything else? All right, cool. If not, I will catch you all tomorrow. This has been great. AJ's coming back in. We're gonna tell him we leaving. So he need to pack his bags. We about to get up out of here. But yeah, AJ, we done. We done for the day.
No, man. No, man. I didn't even get to talk my talk.
Okay, let's talk about it. Go ahead.
Hey, no, actually, what I wanted to ask was,
Go ahead.
No,
And
actually, the only thing I really wanted to say was, to your point earlier, you talked about how a lot of people said it was far above them, and then some said it was behind them. Um, my question would honestly be for the people that feel like it's behind them, or it's how many of them are actually doing it?
Mhm.
Because if they're struggling for money, you don't have clients. So it's one thing to say, yeah, I know that, right? I mean, you taught me that, you showed me this 2 years ago. I ain't implemented.
Mhm.
So I could be like, oh yeah, I know about that. But if I ain't doing it, it don't matter. And I feel like a lot of times people say stuff because they've heard it, not because they implemented it.
Oh,
So
100%. No, I'm a firm believer of that. And the great thing is that I do know that anytime you have people of mixed experience in the room, there's going to be a part of that, right? So, and that's what we give those individuals a chance to lead. Hey, you want to tell your point of view? Cool. You just, yo, Diggs, you figure something out? Share it. Go ahead. Janika, you solve something? Share it. You know, whoever it is, right? So as we continue to grow as a community, I could, kind of see who I believe whose trainings will do well because they already have the respect of the other folks that are around them. And I don't believe that respect is given or earned. I believe it's eroded. So, you start off with the maximum number of respect and then it just slowly erodes away depending on how much crazy stuff you do. I don't think it ever goes back up. So I think there are certain folks who have a lot of the audience's respect based on the work that they're doing, and they've maintained that level of respect in the eyes of their peers. So it's just natural. It's natural life and leadership, right? I want to also say thank you to you guys for, putting up with me sometimes with, just I know I can go on certain rants because I think that um, certain times we need to hear those things, and we can surround ourselves by people that pat us on the back and tell us we're doing well, but they're not looking at what is determined as what's doing well and what's not doing well. And at the same time, we also have to be examples to our younger speakers because there's more of them that'll be joining the calls, right? And it's our responsibility as adults to protect them, to make sure that they don't end up, going off the wrong end or being discouraged because this business is hard. So, I appreciate the support that I get from our customers, and allowing me to lead in my own unique way, whether you get tired of it or not. But I think we're going in the right path. Look, we 8 months old, man. We 8 months into this thing, and I can't imagine what it's going to look like in 8 years as we continue to put the foundational stones in place, right? I'm not trying to compete with anybody else. I'm just trying to win the area that I'm in. So all of our competition, if you're out there, you want to hop on our calls, you can come on and talk about your product. It's the least of my concerns. It's the least of my concerns. If your stuff is going to help our people to get on more stages, they should use it. So, that's always been my attitude. AJ will tell you, all of my friends, they use all my products for free anyway. I'd be like, dude, you can just use it. Like, there's so much more out here. I don't have the time to argue with y'all, and people still don't take me up on it. I'm like, okay, cool. It's perfect. So, for those who are listening, we want to get you on more stages. Whether you're a SpeakerHub customer or not, you're welcome on these calls. Once we split out into other group levels, because those are for paid members only, you will be, you won't be able to come to the paid calls because they've paid for those trainings with the levels of accounts that they have. So those will be a bit more exclusive, a bit more hands-on, with things that won't go on YouTube. So if you're not there, you don't get it, right? If you're not there, you won't get it. There will be recordings, but they will be behind the wall. But if you're not on the call or if you're not in that thing, it won't be public on our YouTube channel. So we're starting to draw the lines where we want to stand, and then we're just going to ask those which side of the line you want to stand on. You're either with us or against us. But even if you're against us, if your mission is the same as ours, we'll bring you over to our side eventually. Eventually, you'll realize that you're probably better off on our team than any place else. So, on that note, I'm gonna let Bart get to his podcast and his television show he got to get on. I'm gonna let AJ finish up whatever he's doing, eating his breadless hamburgers. I'm gonna let Ange go and do whatever she was doing. I don't know how Ange still be having on dress clothes at 8 o'clock. I mean, like, man, I be tired. I don't know. She be dressed up all day. I couldn't do it.
I
But
think it was you who said that I'm gonna start wearing button down and all that.
yeah, that lasted for about a week.
Yeah, you did. I was gonna say something, but you like rhythm. Like I ain't gonna say nothing.
No, it's, hey man, look,
Yeah.
I understand. I am who I am. You know, I mean, dude, look, I've gotten a lot better. Let me tell you. I remember all I had was black polo shirts
Mm.
and jeans. Now I got blue ones. I got red ones. I got different colors now, right? So, you know, whenever you see me on here with a shirt that's not black, my 3-year-old daughter picked it out. Because in the morning she say, Dad, put this one on. And you can't tell her no. So I just go ahead and put on whatever she want me to put on. But yeah, I mean, dude, I am who I am. I ain't trying to, you know, if someone is saying, man, I would have listened to him if he'd have wore a different shirt. They ain't my people. You know, I need the folks that are saying, I'm willing to listen to this dude if he can get me closer to where I want to be. You know, so in that spirit, never a know-it-all. Sometimes the teacher, always a student. I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. Talk to you later. Peace.